The development of children's speaking and listening skills has a direct relationship to their success with learning how to read and write. Listening and speaking skills, also referred to as receptive and expressive language, form the foundation for children's reading and writing abilities. As children develop listening and speaking skills, they are learning to take in information and communicate, which enables them to learn about the world around them, make meaning, and express themselves. Typical development of listening skills in children begin when infants from birth to a year old respond to their parent's voice and their name being called by turning their head or smiling. Children who are 1 to 2 years old can use gestures to respond to an adult asking a question, whereas mama, and can follow one-step directions such as, bring me your bottle. Children become more aware of what is being asked of them and find enjoyment in completing a request. Children aged 2 to 3 are able to follow more complex requests of 2-step directions with a verb. Grab the diaper on top of the table and bring it to me. 2 to 3-year-olds are also able to respond to an adult asking them where specific body parts are, showing how listening skills are growing. Children's listening skills by age 4 to 5 are improving quickly, and they are able to follow more complex multi-step directions. Also, children are able to listen and pay attention to others for longer periods of time and can respond to conversation with what was previously said in mind. Typical development of speaking skills in children begin as noises and vowel sounds, then babbling and cooing until around 9 months, and a move towards forming first words like baba or mama by a year old. By 2 years old, children can say 2 or more words and communicate by pointing in proximity to obtain objects they want. When children approach age 3, they are making word combinations and forming explanations and questions that may not be phonetically or grammatically correct. Children who are 4 years old enjoy singing songs and learning new words as their vocabulary takes off. Children at this age are able to use multi-word sentences and name family members and familiar objects and places. As children move towards turning 5, they become more confident and tell stories with details. They can take turns in conversations and express their needs and wants. Typical developing kindergartners are observant and can listen to others' comments and questions and respond using information provided by their peers. They can understand, remember, and follow multi-step directions. In first grade, students are able to understand multi-step directions for an assignment and observe others to add context to situations, although their listening skills are still developing. In second grade, students are able to show they understand what they are hearing by answering questions or giving explanations. Students become more aware of their nonverbal behavior and continue observing others. In third grade, students are using contextual information coupled with verbal information to make sense of their peers, their environment, and themselves, and the meaning behind it all. Typical development of speaking skills in kindergartners include a vast increase in vocabulary and the ability to speak clearly to share thoughts and retelling stories. In first grade, children's descriptive skills become stronger and they are able to explain their decisions and expand on their thoughts. In second grade, students are able to retell stories they have read or heard and participate in classroom discussions by listening and commenting on a peer's response. By third grade, students are initiating and exploring more complex conversations and showing interest in clarifying confusion in words or phrases. Language delays impact listening and speaking skills by making it more difficult to learn and use the necessary skills to move towards more complex skills necessary for reading and speaking well. If children are unable to master certain skills like phonics, recall memory, processing, and decoding information, then they will be unable to learn and master new and more complex skills. Children need foundational listening skills to be able to follow directions, make meaning of words, close vocabulary gaps, and decode words and sentences. Children need foundational speaking skills to be able to form relationships with peers, share their ideas and express themselves, use words correctly, and answer questions, and asking questions. The development of listening and speaking skills begins much sooner than the development of reading and writing skills. Children begin learning how to communicate their needs as infants through cries and babbling. As children grow and learn to communicate through noises, gestures, and words, they begin forming the foundation for reading and writing. When children learn new words, they are also supporting their own learning with reading and decoding. If a child can recall information such as vocabulary words they have learned, they are more likely to have an easier time learning how to write and read the same word due to being familiar with it already. If children are struggling with speaking and listening skills, they will have difficulty with reading and writing because they have not yet mastered the necessary skills to recall needed information and decode more complex words and ideas. A few strategies for supporting students' listening and speaking skills in the classroom are interactive reading, using puppets in small groups for story retelling, or playing telephone as a transition activity. These activities are developmentally appropriate for elementary school students and target active listening skills and memory recall, two important skills for listening and speaking. Using fun activities to practice listening and speaking skills will help students feel more calm and focused and provide a low-stakes environment for students to make mistakes and learn from each other. One other everyday strategy for students' listening and speaking skills is think, pair, share, where students listen and respond to a question with a partner. When students interact with each other, they can model, observe, and try new things, creating a collaborative environment. Collaborative learning is an important strategy to use in the classroom, especially in an inclusive classroom. It is important to establish classroom expectations for circle time or conversations so students know what is expected of them and can practice important skills with speaking, like taking turns and active listening. Collaborative discussions provide an inclusive environment for children to participate more and observe their peers, learning vocabulary and how to ask clarifying questions. According to the National Association for the Education of Young Children, discussion increases students' engagement, helps them take responsibility for their learning, helps prompt higher level thinking, offers room for clarification, and gives them opportunity to apply comprehensive strategies. Students with dyslexia may have trouble speaking and communicating due to difficulties with recall memory of speech, sounds, and common words, and also pronunciation abilities. Students commonly find it difficult to find their words or speak clearly and need support targeting their emergent speaking skills. Listening can also be affected when language is extremely complex or if the verbal information is multi-step. Students may have difficulties following verbal instructions, retaining information, and engaging with peers when language demands are high. One strategy for teachers or families is to read together as much as possible in a calm and distraction-free environment. To encourage children with reading, pick a book that interests them at the appropriate reading level to foster confidence. Another strategy is to sing songs with rhyming words. This helps children recall words through singing the song and recognizing that repeating words rhyme. Practicing memorization of words can help children find anchor words that are common and do not need to be broken down to be read. Lastly, one strategy for learning situations is to incorporate a play element to make the activity more enjoyable. When children enjoy what they are doing, they are more focused and motivated to try again if they fail. Thank you.